Good morning, everyone. My name is Deb Bertizon from NUUC, and I'd like to support you and guide you in our call to worship. Come, let us worship together. Let us bask in the glorious, tender, loving earth we are privileged to live on. Breathe deeply. Settle in your seat. Close your eyes and imagine a clearing in the deep, dense forest, a clearing that is our sanctuary. Come, let us worship together.
We light this candle as we always do, as we gather for worship, as a sign and symbol that we gather together in a sacred presence. We gather together in worship. Today we continue the celebration of the natural world as a revelation of the divine presence in our lives. As we light the candle to celebrate the divine presence, to celebrate the divine presence known in and through all of creation, listen to these words of Hildegard von Bingen. The fire has its flame and praises God. In these praises, we hear the word which praises God, and the word, when heard, praises God. Amen. Invite our neighborhood choir to come forward. Pat is waving her hand at the back in greeting to any of the children who are here this morning and would like to go with her. I think we're going out this door to the side, and you're welcome to go with her now. I think there are just a couple over here. And children are invited. We do have children's leadership now on Sundays mornings, so be sure to be bringing children along to worship, get that part of our lives again. Things have shifted throughout the pandemic, and a lot of people are staying home, and we're trying to encourage you to come back and to bring your children with you. Please join with me in prayer. God of the air, moon, and waves, we welcome you into our hearts like the rising sun. Accept our worship as a loving act of service, as we claim the promise of new life and transformation. Everything that exists, food, water, oceans, mountains, trees, we owe to the work of your hands. Your creation teaches us an ancient wisdom. We cannot comprehend the vast mysteries of your handiwork, for you are the architect of the universe. Mold our spirits so that we too unfurl, so that we unfurl into the people you designed us to be. Cultivate in us the spark of wonder for your world and let it infiltrate our being. Draw out our love for creation and teach us the intricacies of your love, O Creator God. We offer these prayers, knowing that you hear us, and in your love you answer. Amen. I would like to invite Kim Weekly to come forward and to share with us. I'll try not to pull the... Figure it out. Like this.
Yep, sounds good, but I need help with this because my hand doesn't work right. Beautiful. Oh, okay, just stuck it in. Good rising, everybody. It's wonderful to see you all. I want to start off in a good way by lighting some smudge. I know it looks like a really big stick. I promise I'm not going to burn it all. But I need this to start in a good way. And I know I'm messing you up. I'll go back up there, but I want to smudge everybody. Yeah. This is a kindness, from creation. This is a kindness from the plant world. This is a kindness from our people to your people, from our hearts to your hearts. And when we come together in this good way, we always want to start off in a good way. So I'm going to use my fingers, not that they're fireproof, to put it out. I've had burnt fingers many times. So I always like to be close to everybody. I don't like to be separated, but it seems that the sound system works better when I stay a little distance from you. I can hear a bit of feedback, and I don't want to mess it up with that screechy sound. But I want to start off by introducing myself. I know I was introduced in English, but I'm going to share something that comes from our culture. So I need to connect you to our ancestors and our spiritual family that helps me to tell the stories that I tell and to sing the songs that I sing and to connect in a good way with a good heart and a good mind. So can everybody hear me okay? Good. Because I know my singing voice is much louder than my speaking voice, and I have been speaking for 3 days straight, so I'm praying that my voice will hold up. Anin bojo mishike dodem shkudenigan wawaskonen indigenous. Shawanagan dunji havlok dunjaba nishanabekwe ojibwe Bodawatami Caribbean Endau. I bring greetings in the language of my ancestors. When I say Anin bojo, I'm saying my spirit recognizes your spirit. Because I want you to remember we're spiritual beings first having a physical experience and not physical beings having a spiritual experience. So when we look at our relationships with each other, it's housed in the spirit first. So regardless of the meat suit that you arrived in here for your life walk, you are spirit first. And you are sacred and you are beautiful. And so we have connections based on that common, place of origin. And when we talk about creation stories, there's lots and lots of stories around the world that talk about, our beginning time, how we came to be. And in our teachings, we have a wide variety of stories. I'm going to share just a couple with you this morning because I don't have a lot of time, but hopefully I can squeeze in as much as possible and act like I don't see them when they tell me time's up. They're behind me, so I really can't see them. So maybe I'll just park myself here. Yeah. So when we think about creation and we think about our place in creation, you know, we acknowledge what is here now. And we heard some beautiful words of worship and praise to start us off, which hopefully roots you into the truth and the connections of what actually supports you. So when we think about all of the sands, the soils, the clays, the gravels, the rocks, the stone beings and the mountains, these are the most ancient beings on earth. They're the ones that came first. They're the ones that you place your feet upon every day. They're the ones that are so old, they know all the stories, the songs, the teachings that have ever been shared and that will ever be shared. They have forever memories. And for us in our culture, they are sentient beings. So they have the ability to remember, they have the ability to communicate, they have the ability to support us. And so one of the ways that you can kind of test the truth of that is think about the resilience of our Earth Mother. What is she covered in? What holds her together? Well, it's that first order of creation. And that first order of creation is ancient. And out of respect in our culture, we call them grandmothers and grandfathers. And we speak to them in those kind ways. And it doesn't matter how small or how large they are still worthy of recognition and gratitude. And so on a daily basis, we bring our hearts and minds together and we give them greetings and thanks. Now, the second order of creation in our teachings is all of the grasses, the shrubs, the trees, the bushes, the hardwoods, the softwoods, the berries, the hanging fruits, and the medicines. And in the Western world, this is just the plant world to you. But they too are sentient beings, and they recognize me as one of their family. My spirit name, head or leader of the Fireflower, comes from them. They are part of my extended family, my spiritual family, but also my physical family, like you, because they sustain you in all of those good ways to help you live a good life. They feed your belly when you're hungry. They heal your body when you're not well. They provide protection from the elements because our bodies are frail and we need that relationship. We need that kindness. And so on a daily basis, what we do is we give them greetings and thanks. And then we want to bring our hearts and minds together and think about our elder brothers and sisters who are far more ancient than us. The ones we refer to as swimmers and crawlers and flyers and two-leggeds and four-leggeds, those that live up in the sky world and those that live beneath the earth. Now, these beautiful beings have been here for time immemorial. They have original instructions from the Creator, and they decided that they would take care of the babies of the earth. That would be the fourth order of creation, but we're not there yet. We're still at the third order of creation. And so when we look at all the things that they do for us, they teach us about the world around us. You know, anything that a bear eats, a human being can eat. So if you ever get lost in the bush, find a bear, follow them around, and you'll be just fine. Just don't let them discover you. Yeah. So, and that's a literal truth. They literally, everything they eat, we can eat. And we call them our brother. They're very close to us. You know, when you remove a bear's skin from the neck down, they look very human-like. And it's really difficult sometimes for people to kind of accept how connected we are to the animal world. In our culture, we don't believe in Darwin's theory of evolution. We did not evolve from monkeys. We came from the spirit world, whole and complete in the way that you see us now. And so when we give thanks to that, you know, that third order of creation, all of those animal beings, we have to remember they're our companions and they're also our food source. So on a daily basis, it is incumbent upon us to remember to give thanks for their sacrifices and their continued sacrifices. Now, the fourth order of creation is us, the babies. You know, and like babies, everything's about us. Gimme, 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 I want, I want. And then what happens is we think we're the boss of everything because we're getting everything given to us, but we're not. It said that we come from the sky world and we came down as 4 races of beings, and that there were 16 couples, and each of them were given teachings about how to conduct themselves on the earth and their responsibilities, and then they were sent across the earth. Well, the red race did not want to leave because it said that we came to this part of the earth, Turtle Island, our home, our great island. And we love the Creator so much, we had a hard time saying, no, you know, we can't go, we want to stay. And so, as it is today, we are one of the only beings who didn't go someplace else on the earth and claim and rename lands. We've always been here. We've had an intimate relationship with all of creation. We've nurtured it and honored it. But we know that we came from somewhere. So how did that happen? And when did that happen? Well, we don't know when it happened. We know that it happened a long time ago. And I'm going to give you a really condensed version of one of our stories. We have creation stories and we have recreation stories because the earth herself is ancient and she has endured much and things have changed dramatically over time. So we believe in that great flood that came here long ago, so that would bring us to our recreation story. But one of our creation stories talks about the sky world, because that's where we come from. And in the sky world, we're sky people. And Sky Woman was out walking one day, enjoying all that she had in the space and place in the sky world that she considered home. She was quite pregnant at the time and had many cravings and interests. As she came upon this one tree, she noticed that, oh, you're in trouble now. At the base of this tree was a hole, and she was very curious about it. As she peered into that hole, she was very surprised to see that there was something blue in the bottom of that hole. How strange is that? You know, at the bottom of a tree, you're not expecting to see something blue. Now, keep in mind, she was pregnant, so what happened was she lost her balance, and she actually fell into that hole. As she fell into that hole, she tried to stop her fall, and she began grabbing at the roots of that tree and filled her hands with seeds, all kinds of seeds, and still she couldn't stop her fall. As she went through that hole, she continued to fall into a world we call our world. And she was falling from the sky, because that's where she came from, the sky world. And as she fell into this world, there were some birds flying around, and they took a look at this very curious being who had no webbed feet and had no wings, and they were wondering, what the heck is this? And how the heck is this being or this thing going to survive? Because it was a water world at that time. And she was falling quite fast, and so they thought they better do something. So they swooped up underneath her and carried her around on their back for a while. And they realized she was very heavy. And they thought, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We can't carry her for much longer. Well, the water beings were looking up because they saw something falling from the sky as well and wondered what it was. So they shouted out, what is that? What do you have there? And the bird said, we don't know, because at this time all the animals spoke the same language. And so they were struggling with flying around with her, and they said, she's really heavy. We don't know what we're going to do. And at that moment, a giant turtle, they say, came up out of the water and said, I can help. Place that being on my back. And so the birds gratefully flew down and deposited her on the back of that great turtle. And so she brushed herself off, and she stood up and she looked around and she thought, wow, I've heard about this place. Hello, everybody. Nobody knew what to do. They were all looking at her. She was the strangest being ever. And as they looked at her, she said, I've heard about this place, and I've heard at the bottom of your water you have something really special. Is there anyone here who could go there and bring me some of that? Because I want to thank you. It's a very special gift. And so, of course, many of the animals, had egos like humans. And they thought, oh, I can do it, oh, I can do it. So many of them tried. Some of the fastest, the strongest, the most well-equipped took big gulps of air and tried to get to the bottom of the water world. But none of them made it. Well, all this time, a smaller creature was watching, looking at them and thinking, well, geez, I'm going to try. So this little being we call a muskrat, and the muskrat said, hey, I'm going to try. And all the animals looked at the muskrat and thought, are you crazy? They started laughing. Oh my goodness. You're not fast like us. You don't have a big strong tail like the beaver. You can't hold your breath for extended periods of time. Well, that muskrat was quite insulted. And Sky Woman said, there now. Everybody can try. Muskrat, go ahead. So Muskrat took a big gulp of air and wanted to show them all that Muskrat could do it. So Muskrat took that big gulp of air and dived into the water and swam down, 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 and swam down, 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 and swam down, down, down to its very last breath and realized, I don't think I'm going to make it. And at that moment, Muskrat bumped into the bottom of the water and instinctively grabbed. Well, Muskrat's lifeless body floated up to the top of the water. And all the animals saw this beautiful being's dead body and felt remorse. They felt a lot of regret for treating that being so unkindly. Is that my cue to stop? Because I'm not done yet. Yeah. So Muskrat's body was floating there, and she said, "Oh, bring Muskrat to me." And she scooped him up, cradled Muskrat in her arms, and said, "Oh, dear Muskrat, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you gave up your life trying to help us." And as she looked at Muskrat, she noticed Muskrat was laying there like this. And in Muskrat's little wee paws, there was a tiny bit of what was at the bottom of the water. Now, some people will call it dirt, but there is nothing dirty about the earth. It was earth. Muskrat had managed to scoop 2 little handfuls into his tiny little paws, and she carefully opened it up, and she took those 2 bits, and she blew on it. And as she blew on it, it began to spread all over the back of that turtle. And as it spread further and further, she sang a song and she did a dance and she deposited the seeds that she had brought. And to this very day, when you take a look around you, you are seeing the gifts that she gave us in thanks and gratitude for that rescue as she fell from the sky world. So she created all the plant beings, she created all the mineral world, she created all of the animal world. And we benefit from that even today. There are many versions of that story. That's an overly simplified story for your ears today because they gave me a short amount of time. But what I want you to take from that is an understanding that the way that we are taught in this world, and especially perhaps in a setting like this, is only one way. And there are many ways of knowing. And it's said that everything in creation has a story of origin or a creation story itself. So when I think about that and how sacred that is, how beautiful it is, I can't help but embrace some of the other stories of other beings. And if you'll indulge me, I'm going to tell you one more creation story, because I think it's important to stretch your mental birdcage, to start thinking from your heart space, to embrace not judgment or ego when you hear something out of your realm of experience or understanding, but to just accept it without analyzing or critiquing it, just to accept it as a truth, because there are many truths on the earth. You know, long ago, when the earth was much younger than it is now, there was a time when the star beings were looking down on the earth. Some of you may have heard me tell this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. And as they looked down on the earth, they saw something happening. There were these orange glows popping up all over. And they were really curious. They thought, well, what's that? What's happening? Well, one of the star beings, a little bit more curious than the rest, I guess, decided, well, I'm going to go find out. And so that star being came close to one of those orange glows. And whoa, to her surprise, she discovered that it was a fire. It was a beautiful orange glowing fire. And she thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and decided to come closer to this orange glowing fire. And as she got closer to the fire, she discovered that there were people sitting all around the fire. And she thought, wow, well, what's going on? And she found a space and she sat down and she thought, oh, I'm gonna check it out. And to her surprise, she discovered that they were singing songs, all kinds of songs. And they were telling stories, all kinds of stories, really long stories, really short stories, some scary stories, and some really funny stories. And she thought, this is amazing. Oh my goodness. So she looked around the circle to see if everybody else was enjoying it as much as she was. And as she looked around, she went, oh! You see, the circle had gotten much smaller. And she wondered what happened to all of the people that were there. And as she scanned the circle, she saw them doing something she was unfamiliar with. They were doing something that you will be familiar with. They were doing this. They were yawning and stretching because they were tired. And she says, oh yes, human beings sleep at night, but star beings don't. So she realized that they were all just heading off to bed. And then she paused and she said, oh no, what happens if they all get tired? Who's going to tell the stories? Who's going to sing the songs? I want this to go on forever. This is amazing. And so she sat there. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Eventually, everybody had headed off to bed. No more stories, no more songs, just her and the crackling fire. And she thought, oh, I have to go home, I guess. And so she began her journey back up to the sky world with a very heavy heart because she had enjoyed it so much. And as she began that journey up to the sky world, she looked over her shoulder one last time at that beautiful orange glow and thought, this is amazing. Oh, I've enjoyed it so much. I wish it would just go on forever. And at that moment, off in the distance, she saw something and she said, oh, and then she got really excited. You see, off in the distance, she saw another star being and she said, oh my goodness, maybe I don't have to go home. Maybe I can stay and hear more songs and stories. And she got really excited. So quickly, she flew over to that other star being with her arms extended, ready to give them a big hug and say, oh, please, 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 could I stay? Unbeknownst to her, she wasn't seeing another star being. She had never been to this world before. So for her, she didn't know what could happen. What she was flying towards was a perfectly flat lake, and she was seeing her own reflection. Now up in the sky world, they don't have mirrors. She knows what other star beings look like, but she didn't know she was looking at herself. And so quickly, as she flew towards herself, she reached out to embrace herself. And unbeknownst to her, should she touch that water, something was going to happen to her. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as she touched the water, boom, she became forever earthbound. And to this very day, you can see her descendants. They're still here. They're always at the edges of the shorelines and the waterways, and they look like this. They're beautiful beings. We call them water lilies. Water lilies are descendants of that beautiful star being that came to hear our stories and songs. And why do they grow close to shore? Is because they're waiting for us to sing songs and to tell stories. So the next time you see a water lily, be sure to introduce yourself and sing a song or tell a story, because that's what they're waiting for. That's a creation story about water lilies. Isn't it beautiful? And our way of knowing, indeed, is very beautiful. Everything that we do is always connected to honoring the spirit of things. And so to honor that natural world and that last story that I told, I'm going to sing a song that I think you know. I'm pretty sure that you know. It's called Wildflower. And I want to bring this full circle, and thank you so much for listening and being brave enough to step in new space and embrace another way of knowing. And hopefully you didn't just hear it here, but you actually made an effort to hear it from here, because this is the place where spirit resides. And this is the place of truth. This is the place where we're able to retain and maintain new learnings and new connections. And this is the place that we should draw from to spread those seeds around to those that weren't here. So my challenge to you is to carry what you're able to carry away today and share that with somebody else. You know, our wisdom, our knowledge, our way of life, our way of knowing is not unique to us. It is indeed universal knowledge, and we don't own it. It comes from creation, and we return it to all creation, which includes you, no matter where you come from. So I'm going to close with that song, Wildflower. I don't know if they were making frantic movements behind me to say, stop, you're done, it's over. But it will be over at the end of this song. And at the end of this song, I'm going to ask you not to clap. I know it's the Western way. And for those of you who have seen me before, I always encourage you to do a buffalo yell. And a buffalo yell sounds like this. It's not the sound buffaloes actually make, by the way. I've had people ask me that. No. But it's kind of an honoring of the spiritual connection that we have. And when we speak in a good way and we light the medicines, we're creating an atmosphere that we want to stay connected to. And clapping clears that atmosphere. It discharges it. We want it to stay here. We want to create magic for ourselves as we sit here on this day and really feel the wash of connection and ancestral wisdoms and knowledge and the beauty of who we are on this day in all of those good ways. So if you know this song, you're welcome to sing it. If you don't, that's fine as well. But I want to honor the plant world. And my drum's still quite flat. It's very moist out today. When I was coming in, it was raining. Hey, hey. Thank you so much. Have a seat. Your voices are beautiful. It's so validating to be able to stand here and hold space for Métis, First Nations, and Inuit people in a good way with a good heart and a good mind. I'm so, so proud of this congregation for coming together and creating a welcome for me. I did indeed feel welcome. And one of the best ways to thank somebody like me is to sing. Just try your best. Watch my lips. I know you like the screen, but our songs belong in your heart. Yeah, not on paper, in your heart. So take that song away with you today. Sing it some more. You can YouTube it too, by the way, if you've forgotten it. Miigwech. Nahau. Present for you. Oh, I can't get it off. I forget my hand doesn't work anymore.
So for a little informal check-in, Anne and Ron, were you planning to take the offering this morning? Okay, you got it covered. Okay, wonderful, because the choir, I'm going to invite to come forward to sing the anthem and for us to sing as the offering is received. And once the offering is received, please bring it to the front as the choir returns to their seats, and we will offer a blessing at that time. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to say a quick note. We have two congregations here, so if you want your offering to go to NUUC, be sure you write it on the envelope. If you didn't bring one of your own envelopes, write it on the envelopes you may hopefully find in a pew. Same for East End United folks, and any kind of loose change that goes in will be tallied up and divided between the two congregations. So that's the plan for offering this morning. Did I forget anything else? Sometimes the ushers come and put the plate on the table, and I'm asking you not to do that yet. Because to me it's a symbol. Money is a symbol, right, of who we are and what we have to offer to the world. But we need our bodies here as well. So I always love it when the ushers stand at the front as the blessing is offered over, yes, these offerings and the offerings that are made through par or in whatever way you choose to make that in terms of service, in terms of singing in the choir, or whatever it is you do. I know most of you here will carry, if not all, a multitude of tasks, both within this community and in your own communities and in the broader communities. And all of these ways are ways that we offer ourselves to the world and hopefully offer ourselves in blessing to others. So thank you for remaining at the front and holding the offering and being symbol of all of us receiving God's blessing. Holy One, we gather this day grateful for this sacred space, the space of sharing story, this space of sharing song, the space of offering prayer and delight. We ask your blessing upon each one of us and upon the offerings that are held here before you. We ask your blessing on the offering of our lives, our resources, our energies, our talents, and ask that each one of us might leave this place today refreshed, energized and filled with a sense of deeper purpose, knowing that the way we live out in the world makes a difference for you. And for this, we give you thanks. And for this opportunity of gathering, we give you thanks. And for this people gathered together, we give you thanks. And for this place of sanctuary, this place of coming in and going out into the world, we give you thanks and offer your blessing upon all. Amen.
This sharing ritual that we're about to do, let me see if I can get this out of here. My goodness. There we go. So this sharing ritual that we're about to do is an important way that many Unitarian Universalist congregations bring people together in community and in relationship. So it's so fitting that we do this today as we all gather together. We invite anyone who would like to come forward and light a candle for a joy or a concern in your life. You're encouraged to name the emotion or the meaning of the experience rather than just telling a story or making an announcement. And then release it through the candle into the shared sacred space. You also may decide to just do this, light the candle, and remain silent. So I think what we're going to do is please form lines, I would say here in the center, and also here towards Peter. We ask you to take one candle And Peter will give it to you, and I'll motion you when it's time to approach. So I'm going to start first. So I start by expressing gratitude for all of the volunteer works in both of our congregations, and those are seen and unseen, that help keep us running, that help keep us holding together. Thank you, Peter.
I have two concerns briefly for Andrew, my young friend, who lost his mother this week, Kathy, and a hope for Suzanne and her beloved hound, who is in getting veterinary care tonight, for Suzanne and Siggy.
This is also a candle of concern for Siggy, our beloved choir mascot and Suzanne's beloved friend.
Miigwech to my soul sister, who I've known for 30 years, singing, drumming and singing in the community. And with the Queen's passing, I know for many of our communities, it's a time of great grief and intergenerational trauma, as well as other groups that have suffered under the British Empire.
This is also a candle for Suzanne and the hopefully prosperous help of Sigmund, the dog, our beloved choir dog.
This is a candle of concern for my son Miles and some challenges he's faced at school, finding a community that would care for him and treat him with respect. And it's a care of hope for all children struggling to find their place, that they find people who love and care for them.
A candle of thanks and appreciation for United here to host us. It really feels like we're together, finally. I appreciate all these fine people. And of course, I can't leave without a candle for Sigmund, our choir mascot, who everybody loves, obviously.
This is a candle of cautious joy and optimism for my uncle, who has apparently, in the first stage, seems to have successfully beaten his cancer. He seems to be on the road to mending, and I just wanted to give thanks and gratitude for that.
This candle is for my daughter, Marta, and a prayer that she be held in the light. Thank you. This candle is for my older brother, Sylvan, who is a Vietnam veteran. And right now he is in the VA hospital in Buffalo with a collapsed lung. And I would like to light this candle for hope for my brother Sylvan.
I light this candle in remembrance for a young gentleman who is in the care over where I work, who is struggling with drug and alcohol abuse. His demons got the better of him this week, and I just pray that he's hopefully in a better place than he was when he made that decision.
I light this candle, it's gratitude. For some reason this morning it evoked my ancestors because they were United Church people and I was looking around, and also evoked, which surprised me, my ex-husband, who's Ojibwe, Brian Wagish from Okwemukong, and I just pray that he's okay wherever he is.
This is a candle of sorrow for the growing separation that I'm experiencing with my mother as she ages and declines, and as I work with a psychologist to address some of the unhealthy aspects of our relationship.
For two friends who passed away recently, I hope that they're singing with sunbeams now.
A candle of joy and gratitude for the opportunity for our congregations to join together in this service.
This is a candle for Duino Bertazon, who has just moved to long-term care, who is rallying and showing his strength, and to his family, who is supporting him so beautifully. So this is to the Bertazons and to Duino.
I just want to acknowledge how familiar it is to be here because I grew up United Church, and there's a lot of familiar rituals that we do as Unitarians. So I also want to acknowledge I went back to work after a year off study leave, and it's really nice to notice how people are glad to have me back. I really appreciate that.
Candle.
And I want to thank him. That was very beautiful.
Reverend Dan asked me to acknowledge again the passing of the Queen, to acknowledge the complexity in the world that comes to the surface at times like this when a person who holds that kind of power passes, the trauma that we heard about earlier, but others who truly grieve. And so we remember her family, those who loved her, those for whom she held deep personal significance, and we ask that they be comforted. And we also remember those who are triggered, and past trauma is ignited in this passing and in the remembrances that happen, so that somehow, as Jesus prayed long ago, we might all be one.
This is a candle of gratitude for people who have been keeping stories and languages alive so that in a place like this that has heard so many stories of one kind, we can now honor spirits and stories of more than one kind for people such as Kim and all the others who are working so hard to keep our spirits together, settlers and Indigenous people all together.
This is a candle of gratitude and acknowledgement to the technical people back in the room, both here and at NUC. It's very hard for me to hear what's being said and understood, but they're picking up the microphone, putting it out through Zoom, coming through my phone, into my earbuds, and I hear everything beautifully, so thank you.
So I light this candle for Lorna and for Andrew, that they may find a way through the challenges with which they're faced.
And I light this candle for all the volunteer work in both of our congregations, seen and unseen, that really hold us together.
I'm going to take another half hour. Okay. I'm going to light a candle of joy and concern because I want to acknowledge the month that we're in. We are going to close this month off with National Truth and Reconciliation Day. And so as I express my concern for the continued healing of the communities across this country who are still intergenerationally affected by what has happened to them, and for those beautiful babies whose names we don't know, whose faces we never got to, enjoy and remember, and for the destruction of the communities and the families, and the continued struggle that we hold in this country as Indigenous people. I want to remind you, we're not blaming you, but we want you to remember. I want you to remember us. I want you to accept the truth of what has happened to us, and that when the 30th arrives, and indeed every day, if you could put a little prayer out for those children who never got an opportunity to shine in their life walk and share their gifts with us. I want to honor them deeply. And I also want to acknowledge the traditional treaty territory of the Mississaugas with the credit. We live, work, and play on Anishinaabe lands in this territory, in this region. And oftentimes we get so caught up with trying to be harmonious and equal and not disrespecting any other nations, we forget to place our focus on the community whose care these lands are currently under and have been for a very, very long time. As Anishinaabe people, we know who we are. We remember who we are. Remember all that is seen and unseen in the space and place that we are tasked with to take care of. And so I want to light this candle to remember that. I feel very called to speak for the children and to remember the community whose lands we're actually doing this upon. So thank you for listening. Miigwech.
Were you wanting to light a candle? Please come. Do you have a candle? Here we go.
I actually have 3 requests from online, so our technology is different here. So the first one is from Sigrid, who expresses prayers and concerns for the First Nations community where they live and work, which has an uptake in COVID right now. So concern for that community, and also an aggressive wolf in a community that is attacking dogs. This is from Sigrid. I have another one from Anne for the opportunity. She's very grateful today for the opportunity to share the stories and sing with First Nations brothers and sisters. And finally, I have one online from John. John would like to light a candle for Mother Betty, who is a few months older than the Queen. Betty got a call from Belmont House this week. There's a room available for her now. At first she declined, but after reflection on what the government did this week to take away the rights of our most senior and vulnerable citizen, she was accepted. And best wishes on the next leg of your life journey. These are from online.
This candle is for all 3 online folks. Creator of all, hear these, the prayers of your people. Help us to hear the wisdom and bless us as we pray with the sounds of your grace. May we find new ways to live and work with all of creation. All of this we pray in the name of love. Amen.
And now it's time for our weekly announcements. I'll give the neighborhood announcements and then pass the microphone over for the EEU announcements. The Spirit Choir meets Mondays from 7 to 9 o'clock. Contact Suzanne at music@nuuc.ca. That's the same person and address to contact for our Pilates class, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. in our sanctuary. It's open to all with a suggested donation of $20. The Peace and Love fundraiser and online silent auction commences Saturday, November 5th, ends Saturday, November 19th. You can bid on exciting items like cottage getaways, spa weekends, gourmet meals, jewelry, gift certificates, and so much more. There's a climate strike rally on September 24th. We invite you to join other congregants from the Danforth Multi-Faith Commons, as well as First Unitarians, at the Fridays for Future rally at Queen's Park. That's September 24th at 2 p.m. We're meeting at the Western Flagpole. You can see 23rd, thank you. We are meeting at the Western Flagpole. You guys all know this, obviously. See Nancy or Laura for more accurate information. We need delegates to UNICAMP's annual general meeting. Contact Lauren Renzetti or Allison if you're interested. The Harvest Ontario Walk, How to Stop 413. Join this grassroots community event involving many of our DMC congregants October 1st at 10 a.m. in Brampton. You can walk or ride 5 kilometers or 30 kilometers of the 60-kilometer proposed highway. Contact Nancy Vanderplaat for more information and carpooling arrangements. And those are our announcements. Over to you, Reverend Deb.
So the first on my list is there's a Djc Arts Workshop today at 2 p.m. in the Jackman Room, and I believe it's something that Jennifer also does and will introduce us to for another Sunday, or Tuesday, I guess it will be. But there is a card-making workshop this afternoon in the Jackman Room with DJC, creation-based. So if you're looking to do something creative today, you can come here. Next Sunday in the gym, Dale Hildebrand will be leading us on the cosmic walk, which is kind of an evolutionary understanding, another creation story yet that helps us gain our perspective as humans. Like, we tend to have a inflated sense of who we are in this universe, and the cosmic walk has a way of doing something like that, to clarifying that vision or changing it as much as looking at a night sky does. It really helps you to have some perspective of our place in the wider evolutionary history of the universe. Things are starting up again. Tuesday morning Bible study is starting again on Zoom under Robin's leadership. Starts 9 a.m. You know, if you don't get the East End Weekly, get it, and you'll get all the details for that. On Thursday morning, the Tending Our Soul group is starting up again under the leadership of Pam Cameron and Christine LeBlanc. So if anyone's interested in that, information again is in the East End Weekly. This Tuesday between 1 and 3 in the narthex, Reverend Jennifer Palin is going to be leading us in a time of meditation and reflection around creation, around trees, using scriptures that refer to trees, speak of trees, and guiding us through a Lectio Divina practice. Do you need to say more than that, Jennifer? Okay, so Jennifer has become a more familiar face, fairly recently retired from Donley Covenant. Glad to have you with us, Jennifer. And she will be here between 1 and 3 on Tuesday. We'll be meeting right back there in the narthex. Also, I have here that there's a blanket exercise happening on the 21st, but I have no details on that. Does anyone? Oh, it's there. I didn't realize all these things were up. Okay. Wow.
September the 21st, starting at 6 p.m. in the NUC sanctuary. There we go. The Kairos blanket exercise.
Okay, great. Thank you. And just a reminder that Dan is doing a monthly book discussion. This one is based on Diana Butler Bass's book, Grateful. And if you'd like to be a part of that, you can get a hold of the book either at a bookstore or through Toronto Public Library. Come and join him in conversation. I think that's happening the second week of October, so you have a little bit of time for that. And Ron, did you have anything else to add to the Climate Walk invitation? And are there any other announcements that need to be made?
Good morning. My name's Ron McKay. I'm the Chair of Council here at East End United. It's been said, but it's worth repeating in this time and season of creation. This coming Friday is the Global Climate March. So it's an opportunity, and I invite you to put your words, your faith, your songs into action and walk with children and elders as we express a concern for the climate crisis. If you're not able to make it, I urge you to have a conversation with your family and friends. I urge you to write our political representatives. I urge you to write business leaders. We are on a razor's edge, but there is still time for hope if you want it. For our world, for ourselves, for all our creations, there is still time for hope if you want it. Thank you.
I believe that's it for announcements this morning, and lots going on as we enter into the fall, and it's with great gratitude that we can appreciate the ability to come together again online, but also in person, and have a greater diversity of programming and offerings and ways to gather together. So I give thanks for that. Okay, so moving on to next week a congregational meeting. Sorry, I should announce that, because if we don't announce it, it can't happen. So October 2nd, Sunday, after worship, plan free East End United members please plan to stay after for that congregational meeting, because we need you here for votes and for your being informed as members of what our trustees are all about, and maybe even for some of you to be enticed to consider becoming one. So, have I missed anything else? Okay, a song. It's a song of praise to the Maker. More voices, 30. Please stand and sing together.
Go to the world alone, exhausted, COVID weary. Step lightly, shelter under the nearest tree. Let your senses dance, a partner with nature. Look under the rocks, look up to the skies. All is well, all is calm. You are embraced. Creator God's arms surround you. Listen to the voices in the wind. There is a way out. Love will lead the way. Return refreshed, renewed, blessed by all that is and all that shall be. Go again and again. Go to the world. The world awaits. Amen.